Hello, hello, all of you join. Hello, so far I have completed Unit 4 convection, Unit 5, two topics. There are two topics under Unit 5. One is boiling and condensation heat transfer, and second one is heat exchangers. And Unit 5 heat exchangers has been completed, and today we'll start that boiling and condensation topics. Today I'll cover to some extent boiling. So fourth unit, second chapter, boiling and condensation. So boiling and condensation comes under heat transfer with phase change. Heat transfer with phase change. What is the meaning of phase change? In the boiling, a liquid converted into vapor. That is phase change from liquid to vapor. That's why both the boiling and condensation heat transfers will be taken place with the phase change. Phase change means liquid phase to, for example, boiling, liquid phase to vapor phase. In the case condensation, so what is boiling? Liquid boiling to other phase of vapor. So for example, take the water. Water boils at 100 degrees centigrade. After boiling, the liquid water becomes vapor steam. That's why there is change of state or change of phase. Phase change. Phase change means liquid to vapor. And the condensation is, what is condensation? Vapor becomes liquid. Vapor condenses into liquid. So condensation is just reverse process of boiling. In both the cases, in boiling heat transfer, condensation heat transfer, there is a phase change at a constant temperature. For example, during a latent heat of evaporation or evaporation at a constant temperature, for example, in the case of boiling, water becomes vapor. And in the case of condensation, so vapor becomes liquid. Then that is phase change. And at the same time, at a constant temperature, because of latent heat of vaporization in the boiling, water becomes steam. Because of a constant temperature, 100 degrees centigrade, for example, 100 degrees centigrade, water, if you take the water boils at 100 degrees centigrade. And during the 100 degrees centigrade temperature, that is at a constant temperature, that is during latent heat of vaporization. So liquid becomes vapor. Otherwise, in the case of, if you take the water becomes steam. Okay, na? The mode of heat transfer with phase change. Find wide applications. So where do you apply these phase change applications? For example, you go steam power plants, and the boilers will be there. The boiler, liquid water becomes vapor steam. Similarly, in the boilers, condenser, vapor condenses into liquid water. Steam condenses into water. That's why where do you apply the boiling heat transfer and condensation heat transfer? The wide number of applications are there. Steam power plants. If you observe steam power plant, there are 4 components: water pumps, boiler, turbine, and condenser. In the boiler, water becomes steam at constant temperature. And at the same time, in the condenser, steam condenses into water at the constant temperature. So, number of in our thermal devices, thermal plant equipment, thermal devices in thermal industry. So there may be wide variety of applications with the phase change. Examples: steam power plants and refrigerant air conditioning systems also. If you take the refrigeration, there is a compressor, condenser, evaporator, refrigerating, that is expansion valve. But in the refrigeration system, in the condenser, refrigerating vapor condenses into liquid. In the evaporator, refrigerant liquid vaporizes into vapor, like that. So this heat transfer with phase change, there are wide variety of applications: steam power plants, refrigerant air conditioning systems, melting of metal in the furnaces, that is solid becomes liquid metal. And process heating and cooling at constant temperatures. Process heating and cooling. So heating, liquid becomes vapor. In the cooling, vapor becomes liquid. But at the same time, at constant temperature, there will be latent heat of vaporization or latent heat of condensation. At that, the constant temperature will be there. And at the same time, the phase change. So boiling and condensation process have the following unique features. So as a consequence of phase change in these boilers, condensers, refrigeration system, evaporators, condensers, the heat transfer to or from the fluid can occur without influencing the fluid temperature. That is, fluid temperature is constant. And the heat transfer coefficient and rates are much higher in this boiling and condensation heat transfer when compared with normal convection heat transfer process. Generally, boiling is a convection heat transfer only. If you compare normal convection heat transfer, boiling heat transfer, and condensation heat transfer, in the boiling or condensation, the heat transfer coefficients are very large. Heat removal rates are very large. Heat transfer rates are large quantities. Heat transfer coefficients are high quantities. So here in the boiling and condensation, high rate of heat transfer is achieved with a small temperature difference. With small temperature difference, high rate of heat transfer is achieved in the boiling as well as condensation. And the phenomena associated with boiling and condensation are much more complex. Here complex heat transfer is very, very complex one, tedious, complex, because of the following problems or following effects. Latent heat effect, because of latent heat of vaporization, latent heat of condensation. Because of latent heat effects, the heat transfer is very, very complex phenomena. One parameter, other parameter, surface tension. And other surface tension also plays an important role. That's why condensation heat transfer and boiling heat transfer becomes very, very tedious and complex. And also at the same time, some surface characteristics and the surface generally liquid becomes vapor through the surface. That's why depend upon surface characteristics and depend upon latent heat effects, depend upon surface tension, depend on surface characteristics and other properties of two-phase system, because at the phase change from liquid to vapor, that is a difficult concept. Mathematical analysis is very, very difficult for phase change systems. Mathematical equations, mathematical analysis, very, very difficult. That's why, because of this one, the phenomena associated with boiling and condensation is a complex one. So, like the boiling and condensation heat transfer, both are phase change heat transfers only. So, we have to complete first boiling heat transfer. Next, we have to go for condensation heat transfer. So, boiling heat transfer. What is boiling heat transfer? As already explained, here the liquid becomes vapor. So, what is boiling? Boiling heat transfer. So boiling is a convective transfer, because boiling within the liquid, if you heat the liquid, within the liquid, the convection heat transfer, because of convection currents are developed, because of development of buoyancy forces, because of changes in the densities of the given medium, that is liquid, sometimes vapor. So boiling is a convective transfer process only, but that involves a phase change. Here, there is a change of phase. That is from liquid to vapor. Phase change from liquid to vapor. If you take the example of water, if you heat the water and maintain the constant temperature, if you increase the water temperature up to 100 degrees centigrade, at 100 degrees centigrade, at a given atmospheric pressure, water changes in water in the liquid form becomes vapor form, that is steam. Water changes into steam. That is known as boiling. Water boils into steam, from liquid state to vapor state. So when the boiling is possible? Boiling is possible only when the temperature of the surface, for example, surface temperature of the wall temperature exceeds the surface temperature of any, for example, boiler tube. In the shell surface temperature, tube surface temperature. Within the tube, there is liquid, water. Or within the shell, there may be water. So if you increase the shell temperature, surface temperature with the help of some flue gases, and heat transfer from flue gases to water. That's why boiling is possible only when the temperature of the surface exceeds the saturation temperature of the liquid corresponding to the liquid pressure. Whenever the saturation temperature of the liquid corresponding to the liquid pressure that is less than the surface temperature of the that shell or tube. Whenever surface temperature is more than the saturation temperature of the liquid at the corresponding pressure, then obviously boiling takes place. Surface temperature exceeds the saturation temperature of the liquid. The liquid may be water or any other liquid. So whenever surface temperature exceeds the saturation temperature of liquid, obviously boiling takes place. So heat transfer in the boiling, the formula is same as that of convective heat transfer. The heat transfer rate, how do you calculate in the boiling? Q is equal to by following the convection heat transfer rate only here also. Heat transfer rate in the boiling, how do you calculate? Q is equal to HA into Ts minus T saturation. That is different here. So anyhow, surface temperature or wall temperature, saturation temperature, liquid. That is here temperature of the liquid here also, temperature of the fluid. But here saturation temperature of the fluid. Saturation temperature of the liquid or saturation temperature of the fluid. That's why Q is equal to HA Ts minus T saturation. So where H is the convective transfer coefficient in the boiling. Surface A, yes, surface area. And Ts minus T saturation, Ts, surface temperature or wall temperature. T saturation, saturation temperature of the given liquid. Given liquid, that is saturation temperature. That is whenever liquid transfers into vapor, that is saturation temperature of the liquid. Whenever vapor condenses into liquid, the saturation temperature of the vapor. Like that, so T saturation of the liquid or T saturation of the fluid. So that is equal to H into AS into delta T XS. Delta T XS delta T difference in temperature difference. So where delta T E excess is not temperature, excess temperature. You know as excess. Then only if there is excess temperature, then only boiling heat transfer takes place. If there is excess temperature, then only boiling heat transfer takes place. Delta T E for excess. So higher rate of so maximum heat transfer rate in modern boiler is about 2 × 10⁵ watt per meter square. Watt per meter square. So delta T is known as excess temperature, and maximum heat transfer rates in the modern boiler will be around 2 × 10⁵ watt per meter square. That's why heat transfer rates are high in this boiling heat transfer rate as well as condensation. Now, boiling heat transfer phenomena may occur in the following forms. So whenever the boiling is there, here boiling of, for example, boiling of liquid into vapor. The vapor bubbles are formed. This is solid phase. These are temperature, surface temperature. The liquid, and finally liquid becomes vapor. So here there are 4 stages of boiling. Boiling heat transfer phenomena may occur in the following forms. The pool boiling. Here the pool boiling. So pool boiling, forced convection boiling, and subcooled or local boiling and saturated boiling. In this phenomena, there are uh, 4 types of boilings. First one, pool boiling. The boiling heat transfer phenomena may occur in the following forms. First form, pool boiling. The liquid above the hot surface is essentially stagnant and its motion near the surface is due to free convection and mixing induced by bubble growth and detachment. Here, pool boiling. Yes, TS, surface temperature. Here, temperature of the liquid. Here, heat transfer from the surface to this liquid takes place because TS is more than T temperature of the liquid. Here, near the surface, because of free convection, so bubbles are formed. So, but these bubbles, that mixing of bubbles takes place with the bubble growth. If the bubble is growing, the mixing takes place. And sometimes bubbles are not reaching up to this. They are come down because of so low heat transfer rates initially. So the bubble growth, slight bubble growth it takes place, but after that there is bubble is collapsed and getting in the downward direction. So moving up and getting down near the surface of the this surface, near the surface. Due to the free convection, here free convection, small bubbles are developed, but the mixing depends upon the bubble growth, depend upon the bubble growth of the bubble, and sometimes those bubbles are detached from each other and going downwards. So that kind of boiling is known as pool boiling near the surface of the this surface, near the surface. And the forced convection boiling. So this refers to situation where the fluid motion is induced by external means and also by free convection bubble induced mixing. So initially there is bubble induced mixing with the free convection. If you provide any external agency and free convection, because that one bubbles are moving to some extent heights, higher heights because of forced convection. So that is known as the liquid is pumped and forced to flow. So the liquid is pumped and forced to flow up to this, to higher extents, higher heights. That kind of boiling is known as forced convection boiling. Forced convection boiling. And next, subcooled boiling or localized boiling. In this case, the liquid temperature is below the saturation temperature and bubbles are formed in the vicinity of heated surface. These bubbles, after traveling a short path, get condensed in the liquid, which has a temperature less than the boiling point. So here, okay, here pool boiling. Next forced boiling, pool boiling, that is free convection. Next forced convection is boiling. But here also the bubbles are formed and again getting downwards and again condensed into liquid. Vapor bubbles are condensed back into liquid. And again they are moving like that. But they are not reaching up to this liquid vapor phase. And a third case also, a third boiling also, local boiling. Here, the saturation, but they are reaching up to higher extents, higher heights. But again, they are condensed back into the liquid. They condense vapors, condense into liquid form. Because whenever the temperature is below the saturation temperature of the liquid, then bubbles are found in the vicinity of the surface, in the vicinal surface, and condenses back and within a solid surface. These bubbles, after traveling a short path, they are again vapors condenses back into liquid and going downward direction and traveling a short path and gets condensed in the liquid, which has liquid has a temperature less than the boiling point. If the liquid temperature not reaching the boiling point, so they initially in the pool boiling due to free convection to some extent bubbles are formed and they get condensed back. And second, due to forced convection boiling, again bubbles are formed and bubble growth takes place. But again, after reaching certain height, again those vapors condensed back into the liquid. And again in the third boiling also, that is local boiling or subcooled boiling also. And so because of temperature liquid is not reaching the saturation temperature, whenever liquid temperature is not reaching the saturation temperature, again bubbles are moving up to further higher heights. But again after from this they are get condensed back and return to the liquid. Vapor condenses into liquid state. Vapor becomes liquid and again going into the liquid and going like this and condenses back and they are reaching the liquid. That when the temperature of the liquid is not reaching the saturation temperature, or the temperature of the liquid is not reaching the, whenever the temperature not reaches the temperature of the boiling point or saturation temperature. So during these third boilings, that is pool boiling, forced convection boiling, as well as subcooled boiling or local boiling. So again, up to third boiling, that is subcooled boiling or local boiling. So the vapors are condensed back and vapors condenses into liquid and reaches the liquid area. So all the three boiling, pool boiling here with the free convection, here forced convection boiling, and again condense back, vapors condense back, and here also that is localized boiling or subcooled boiling. Again vapors condense back into liquid. But when the liquid becomes vapor, that is due to saturation boiling. That boiling is known as saturation boiling. In the saturation boiling, liquid temperature exceeds the saturation temperature. Here, liquid temperature exceeds the saturation temperature. The vapor bubbles formed at the surface, at the solid surface, are propelled through the liquid, by a buoyancy effects and eventually escape from a free surface. By buoyancy effects and eventually escape from a free surface. So the vapor bubbles formed at the solid surface here, vapor bubble reaches the liquid vapor phase, then propelled through the liquid, up here they are reaching this liquid level and propelled through from the liquid level to vapor level, and because the liquid particle becomes vapor, and the vapor bubbles are propelled through the liquid by buoyancy force, and even finally escape from the free surface, that is liquid vapor interface. Finally the liquid becomes vapor here. So in the saturation boiling, when from the solid to liquid surface, bubbles are formed or vapors are formed. These vapors, because of increasing the temperature, whenever the liquid temperature exceeds the saturation temperature, these vapor bubbles are traveling through the liquid region and reaches the liquid vapor interface because of buoyancy force effect, and even finally escape from the free surface, that is liquid vapor interface. So that this is the process that is involved in the boiling. So initially free convection boiling, and here after that there is forced convection boiling. But here vapor bubbles are formed, again condense back into the liquid. And third boiling also, that is so subcooled boiling or local boiling. In that also vapor bubbles are formed, but they are condensed back into the liquid because the temperature is not reaching the saturation temperature. And finally, once the temperature of this liquid exceeds the saturation temperature, the liquid temperature exceeds the saturation temperature, and the vapor bubbles formed here are moving from the liquid phase to this solids liquid phase liquid phase to this vapor phase, from the liquid area to vapor area, or the vapor bubbles or vapor particles propelled through the liquid because of development of buoyancy forces, buoyancy effects, and finally the buoyancy force acting like this. Because buoyancy force affects these vapor bubbles or vapor bubbles are moving from liquid phase to vapor, and finally all the liquid bubbles becomes vapor bubbles, and these vapor bubbles escape from a free surface, the free surface, that is liquid vapor interface. Like that, these are the boiling process that are involved in the boiling. So following that, if you draw the boiling curve between heat transfer Qs, watt per meter square, heat flux Q is equal to small q is equal to capital Q by area, that is heat flux. If you take the heat flux on y-axis and excess temperature delta E on x-axis, if you draw the curve, this curve is known as boiling curve. Boiling curve. There is interface evaporation, the free convection evaporation. This is forced convection evaporation, that is nuclear boiling. Bubble condenses superheated liquid and bubbles raise to surface. So this is free convection. This is localized boiling. Finally, this is the saturation boiling. So here there are three boiling regimes. That is interface evaporation, first one. Second one, nuclear boiling. Finally, film boiling. So we can explain this boiling curve with the help of boiling regimes. Interface evaporation, first regime. So second regime is known as nuclear boiling. Nuclear boiling consists of two areas, area 2, area 3. In these, bubbles condense in the superheated liquid. And finally, bubbles rise to the surface, that is nuclear boiling. And film boiling, the unstable film is there, the fourth stage. And the fifth stage, stable film is there. In the sixth, radiation coming into play. That's why whenever we increase the temperature, reaches the maximum value, and finally, and decreases and reaches minimum, and further increasing of temperature, further increasing of the heat flux. This curve is known as boiling curve. The boiling curve for water. What is here? There is a heat transfer, heat flux on y-axis, excess temperature on x-axis, excess temperature. The boiling curve for water. The process of boiling depends upon the nature of the surface, thermophysical properties of the fluid, and vapor bubble dynamics. So boiling depends on the nature of the surface. If a rough surface, more boiling. More boiling, more heat transfer. If the smooth surface, less heat transfer. Like that. Thermophysical properties of the liquid or fluid, and also vapor bubble dynamic depends upon the dynamics of the vapor bubbles, and depends on the properties of the fluid. The boiling, that depends. Boiling, heat transfer depends. This is boiling curve. The boiling curve, there are three important regimes. Boiling regimes. First one, interface evaporation, that is free convection evaporation. Second regime, nucleate boiling. Third one, film boiling. What is what? So the above specific curve has been obtained. This curve has been obtained from an electrically heated platinum wire submerged in a pool of water. Water is at saturation temperature. By varying its surface temperature, by varying the surface temperature, if you change, but saturation temperature is same. So by varying surface temperature, then you'll get the different excess temperature. For example, surface temperature is 100. The saturation temperature, for example, surface temperature is 100, saturation temperature is 90. That is 10 degrees excess temperature. Surface temperature is 110, saturation temperature is 90. That is excess temperature 20, like that. So by maintaining the constant saturation temperature, if you change the surface temperature, for example, if you take any electrically heated platinum wire, if it's submerged in a pool of water, and you can get the heat transfer rates by changing the temperatures. You can get the heat transfer from the coil. So from the wattage. So platinum and the electrically heated, from the electrical heater, you're getting the wattage. How much power heat energy we are getting. By taking that heat energy for at excess temperature of, for example, 10 degrees, what is the heat flux? At excess of 20 degrees, what is the heat flux? At excess temperature of 30 degrees, what is the heat flux? At excess temperature of 50 degrees, what is the heat flux? So by taking different values of these heat flux values with different excess temperatures, by maintaining saturation temperature constant, and by varying the surface temperatures. So the above specific curve, this curve has been obtained. So from electrically heated platinum wire submerged in a pool of water by varying its surface temperature and measuring the surface heat flux. So if you change the surface temperature by measuring saturation temperature, by measuring the heat flux from the electrical heater, what is the value here? Here, what is the value? This excess temperature, what is the value? This excess temperature, what is the value? This excess temperature, what is the value? Then you can draw one curve. That curve is known as boiling curve. Okay, na? So for this boiling depends upon the surface and also physical properties of the fluid and also vapor bubble dynamics. So first boiling regime is known as interface evaporation, the pre-convection, interface evaporation. Evaporation process with no bubble formation. Initially, there may be slightly no bubble formation. That is known as exist in the region 1. That is interface evaporation. That is pre-convection. Interface evaporation or pre-convection evaporation. Called the free convection zone. That zone is known as free convection zone. So here the excess temperature delta TE excess is very small. For example, less than 5 degrees centigrade. Here up to this less than approximately 5 degrees centigrade excess temperature. And the heat flux values are very low, very less. That's why in this region, the liquid near the surface is superheated slightly. The convection current circulates the liquid and evaporation takes place at the liquid surface. So at the surface only evaporation takes place with the free convection. But here the temperature value, excess temperature only 5 degrees centigrade approximately. Then heat flux value is very low. Heat flux value here, this one QS is very low. That kind of region is known as interface evaporation. And nuclear boiling. Again, nuclear boiling consists of two phases. One is bubble condenses in the superheated region and bubbles rise to the surface. So nuclear boiling, this type of boiling exists in the regions 2 and 3. With the increase in delta T excess, the formation of bubbles on the surface of wire at certain localized spots commences here. And the excess temperature increases up to this. So there is bubble condenses, again condenses back into the liquid. up to certain excess temperature. So the bubbles condense in the liquid without reaching the liquid surface. So initially the bubbles are formed, but without reaching the liquid surface. Bubbles condense in the solid liquid, but without reaching the liquid surface. Initially, that region, second region, nucleate region, nucleate boiling. If the increase in delta T, the formation of bubbles on the surface of the wire at a certain localized spots starts or commences. The bubbles condense in the liquid without reaching the liquid surface. In fact, it is the region 2 where nucleate boiling starts. It is the region 2 where the nucleate boiling starts. Once the nucleate boiling starts, further boilings take place, and as the excess temperature increases, your heat flux increases, and nucleate boiling completes. Nucleate boiling completes. And in fact, it is the region to where nuclear boiling starts with further increasing delta T, that is excess temperature, further increasing of excess temperature, the delta T E. The bubbles are formed more rapidly and raised to the surface of the liquid, resulting in rapid evaporation, as indicated in the region 2. Okay, na? So in the region 2, the excess temperature increases. The bubbles are moving rapidly and reaches the liquid surface. Bubbles rise to the liquid surface because of increasing of excess temperature, and heat flux values are increases. And this is known as the boiling. Here nuclear boiling commences, starts, and here sustains, and finally nuclear boiling completes up to this point A. And the bubbles are formed more rapidly and rise to the surface of liquid, resulting in rapid evaporation, as indicated in the region 3. The nuclear boiling thus characterized by nuclear boiling is characterized by formation of bubbles at the nucleation sites. Formation of bubbles at the nucleation sites. Nucleation sites, and because of resulting liquid agitation. Because of liquid agitation, the bubbles are moving and rising to the heights and reaches the liquid surface, and finally this liquid becomes vapor. Liquid becomes vapor. So maximum flux occurs after the nucleate boiling. Like that, we can explain the other type of region also, boiling regimes, film boiling. Okay, now, so tomorrow we'll complete the remaining topic of this boiling, because today I have some work, examination work. I am closing now. Okay, any doubt regarding this boiling phenomena? So today I'm closing early because I have some examination work now. I have to collect the papers for final year students. Okay, that's all for today. I'm closing. Any doubt?